Hello, my jelly fighters. My name is Jim, and this is your daily brogue for the 19th of July, 2025. So, what are we talking about today? Today, we are talking about AI art. Um, will it replace human art? And that can be equated with, or um, maybe not equated with, but it can be compared to what do people find valuable in art. And one way we can discuss that is to say, well, what happened in a previous generation? What is a parallel that happened somewhere else? And this parallel that I'm thinking of is something I call the photograph. So the photograph took some time to develop, pardon the pun. Um, it did not spring into existence whole cloth as something that you can take a picture of. You can use your phone and store images of your baby or your niece or whatever it is you want to look at, and look at them anytime you want to. It's just not how it started. So, I should fire immunity and levitation. This is here. Just another. And what? It's in read arts. So, yeah, okay. No, no, no. Possibly. No, no. Okay, we'll try the rapier. Come a lot of people to kill with the axe, but the rapier you have to bring back it is no good. Okay, so oops, I have to go this way because I burned down the rope bridge. There's an eel. He's not here too, so good. It's only one place, only one eel. Or if there's multiple eels, they did not find me. That looks empty. Um, so what we're saying is that in the previous era, where artists could make a living like that, um, they did, and art was dominated by working class artists. Why? Why would why would that be? Well, possibly it would be because working class artists could um, make a living painting people's houses, painting people's children, painting people themselves. And another thing you might think of is these particular um, use cases were ones where technical skill was important. Somebody with greater technical skill would be able to command a greater price in the market. A better portrait artist, somebody who was better at crafting likenesses, would make more money because people wanted the portrait to look like something. Um, as that use case reduced, it was harder for people to make the same um, to make money in the same way, right? You were no longer able to make money as an artist doing portraits full time. Lesser artists didn't have the ability to work on their skill; they just did not have the market for that. So uh, that skill was not completely lost, but there aren't really a lot of artists today who are that great portrait painters. It's a skill. It's not a completely lost skill, but it is certainly not a skill that was preserved very well because it's hard. Crafting a likeness is um, very, very hard. It's a very, very difficult thing for an artist to do, which is why you need preliminary sketches and special techniques and things like that that make life easier. And so even the people who do portraits today usually work from photographs. So first they'll take the photograph and then they'll paint the piece. So um, traditional art never disappeared. People still buy it. But a subclass of people started making what they consider more creative pieces, modern art. This can be Kandinsky, this can be Pollock, this can be Modran, if that's how you pronounce it. Because it's French. Maybe it's not even French. Maybe it's Dutch. I have no idea. I think it is Dutch. It was a Dutch. I'm not going to talk about that. It's cool, but it's off topic. Um, so there became two different kinds of people making art. Now, first of all, these types of people, in some ways, were very, very different, right? Just through their biographies. The people making the traditional art remained working class, right? But the people making modern art, abstract art, they were part of this new breed of artists that were upper middle class, upper class. People who were free from the need to work in the market. Now, I know you're going to say something to me like, I've seen these auctions where people make lots of money, make millions of dollars on their art pieces. Even though they're abstract art pieces. Actually, let's literally just say that people make millions of dollars off of abstract art pieces. Okay, I know the axe is not bad, so we'll switch to the axe. Thought this was on depth 3. Depth 4. 2. Feel. And what else possible here? Health charm it is. Damn it. So brain paralysis. Gets. Okay, so or no, we ended up with two sorts of people making art. Those two sorts of people made different kinds of art. And those two kinds of art ended up getting valued differently. Okay, so turns out today that of these two kinds of art, and this has basically always been true, one kind is more valuable than the other. That is, one kind people will pay more for. That is representational art. People still pay more for representational art than for abstract art. But people who buy art for a lot of reasons buy art to have a relationship with the artist. That is, the thing that most reduces the value of an artistic piece is the artist's death. So that's not the romantic idea that we have. We have this idea that, this undiscovered artist might be recognized by others after their death. It's actually the opposite of what happens. Instead of somebody's death in some way increasing the value of the art, however that's supposed to happen, it reduces the value of the art. The art becomes less valuable. And we want the romance of the artist, the undiscovered artist, being discovered after he's dead and becoming some great, uh, whatever it is that some great, well known, well regarded person, but that's not actually what happens. A big reason why people buy art is to have a relationship with the artist. Not that kind of relationship, but to have to be able to say that this is their artist. I mean, this is sort of a rich person thing, right? They want to have their AI company. They want to have their artist that they discovered. They want to show off that art. This does not make life good for the artist in general, but it is something that artists or something that rich people do. Um, and it is, I guess, one way to say this, it is the reason why they buy art. They want to be part of this. And that's because we have a strange idea about how wonderful art is, right? And because we believe art is so important to civilization, rich people want to be part of maybe not preserving that, but making that true, right? They want to be part of the arts themselves, and because they have money, they can, right? They can support the people. They don't need to be great artists. They can support the people that they think are great or good artists, and help them to make the art that they think the world needs. Help the artists make the art that the rich people think the world needs. This is good. This is not something that I would in any way consider bad. This tells us one of the things. So this is not what this girl was saying on the video that I mentioned 3 videos ago, right? 3 games ago. But this is taking the uh, observations of the author of Why Are Artists Poor and sort of mixing them with the things that she was saying and the things that the people she was interviewing were saying. So we have sort of that admixture. So AI art can never, will never match that. Will never be able to do that, right? You'll never be able to form that appreciation of the human making the art when the art is being made by a program, by a diffusion model, by a bad guess at what somebody else wants. Right? Um, We don't want that step. Okay. All right, so that tells us at some level. What's going on. So we see at least one situation where the AI art is going to not replace stuff, but where it will replace people. Is in the directly useful things. Right. So in the places where people are currently employing artists, it is likely that there will be a reduction in the number of people being employed. So um, I think this will be mostly in design work. I think design work is where the losses are mostly going to be coming from. Does invisibility do it? Yes, it does. Unicorn. Whoa. So we have design. That'll be a major problem. What did I have? +1 read of wisdom. And we have other commercial work like animation and stuff like that. Where the AI will be able to do a creditable job, at least as good as, maybe not at least as good as the artist. But remember, maybe I don't remember, might not be the right word for you, but if you were around when they first started using 3D, when they started using computer generated or computer art for children's cartoons, it was incredibly bad. Oh, Juggernaut. But over time, the computer generated art, the 3D art used in cartoons became much, much better. And the same is going to happen with AI things, right? Do I have telepathy? Do I have those two enchants? Gravity, do I have fire immunity? Yes. Or am I? Oh, that's what's going on. And so the conclusion that I made earlier, I think I probably ought to modify because I don't think it's actually correct. Oh, I sealed him in again. I think what we want to do is we want to get rid of the idea. No, that doesn't help. That there's something mystical about art. But people, we don't get rid of the idea that people think there's something mystical about art. That's important. Um, is our critical or understanding of the situation that I have to go see my wife. Okay. So everything looks small. Oops. Okay, that imp has a key of some kind. Remember, that is not a good idea. Back up. I don't need a door key. Okay. Oh, my unicorn found its way down. Apparently found some way to die. See if we have anything interesting. So why don't we throw fusion at them? No, there's nothing there. Plus 3 ring of transference. Very nice. Um, Very nice. Good. Acidic jelly. Could be bad. Phantom. Not needed. So I'm here just make sure there's no food. It's probably a kraken. Means we don't want to meet it. But that's a Naga. Naga's fine. So we go to that. So pretty good actually. Hard to tell in the mark. I don't think there's anything there. Let's myself get. Yeah, didn't really need the axe. Probably should have thought where I put all those extra things. And I think we solved it. I think we solved it. The value in art comes from relationship with the creator, and therefore AI art will not destroy art.